Welcome to the world, no heroes and villains. Welcome to the war, we've only begun. So pick up your weapon and face it. There's blood on the ground, go and take it. You get one shot to make it out alive. So higher and higher you chase it. It's deep in your bones, go and take it. This is your moment, now is your time. So prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you. Rise, push through heaven. Rise, rise. They will remember you. Rise. Welcome to the climb up, reach for the summit. Visions brave and one false step lead the end. So higher and higher you chase it. It's deep in your blood, go and take it. This is your moment, take to the skies.
Hello and welcome everyone to our CSD coverage of the game between Serenity Gaming, Topaz and Hillerød Esport. I am Kaczka and I'm joined today by the Litzy.
Hello, how are you doing today?
I am doing great, and because we will see some two of one of the best teams that Wintersplit has to offer played out in another league, so it will be very interesting to see if it will be anything different than what we see at home, as I would call it. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Very busy day today, but I have plenty of time to do this. It's going to be a good game. We saw a great game with Topaz yesterday. They 2-0'd Hydra, a big contender over at the Wintersplit. So right now, they're looking pretty strong. But Hillerød, that's no team to laugh at.
They definitely aren't, and you know, it is another league, so we don't really have too big of an overview of the teams in the league. However, these two teams we are seeing in the Wintersplit, and so far, Hillerød, if despite that week one, as they call it, fluke against Hydra, they have been looking very dominant since, and you said it, Topaz managing to 2-0 Hydra yesterday also puts them in a very hot spot, so this match might be actually close to the level that we have seen yesterday, if not bigger.
It is a different league, so I think that Topaz may not be quite as invested as they were in that Hydra match where they're sort of defending their honor, so to speak. But if that, if they can pull out what they were pulling out yesterday, I think they have a pretty good chance to win this.
They definitely do, However, taking a broader look at these teams, any things that you think we can expect in this match from either of them?
Well, when we look at Hillerød, their general LP is higher. They actually have two different master players. One of them may not be playing today. Apparently has about a 50-50 chance of playing the second game. If he does, or maybe a third game, if it comes to that. So whether we'll see both of them or not, who knows? So there's definitely really good players on both teams. But from what we're seeing at Topaz, they had really great shot calling. They were engaging and disengaging at just the right times. And I think the question is, will Hillerød make the mistakes that Topaz has been so good at capitalizing on? Or is Hillerød going to do a better job of maybe catching Topaz off guard and getting on top of them?
Yes, and this match will be actually played in the Wintersplit in week 7, so the result of today will actually give us a fairly good foresight. Yeah, the match will be in just about more or less 3 weeks, so there is still a lot of time. However, it will be interesting to actually see how these teams stack up against each other, since they have not played yet and they have been both shown to be very strong. We are just a few minutes away from the picks and bans. I just also want to quickly go on a tangent right now, because in the Wintersplit, the game that is going on that we unfortunately are unable to stream is between Old Boys and Hydra Esports, and both of these teams are currently sitting at 2 points in the demotion spots. So we will inform you as the game between the games if anything there should change. And yeah, coming back however to the CSD match, because that is what we are here to do. Yeah, you know, we said how both of these teams are actually fairly strong, but there is one matchup that I am actually looking forward to quite a lot, and it is in the bot lane, because we've seen actually Topaz bot lane in yesterday actually play pretty well, and Shim and Tower have also been performing extraordinarily well in their position, so this could be a matchup that can go explosive into either direction.
Absolutely. Cal the Turtle had a great showing yesterday. I haven't personally seen Shim or Tauber, but looking at their champions, it's going to be pretty interesting. Shim plays a lot of Tristana, Ezreal, and Xayah. Very big playmaking ADCs, gets on top of people and deal a lot of damage. And Tauber plays very engage heavy Braum and Thresh. So what we're going to see from them is going to be pretty interesting. Selfway, he usually plays Pyke with some Alistair and Rakan. He does also play Braum, as do most supports in this current meta. And Cal usually plays late game ADCs, really big carries. So seeing how they play around each other, maybe one of them will try to go instead for more of an early game, such as Shim going for his Xayah pick, which could be pretty fun to watch, see how Cal deals with that.
Yeah, he could as well, and one thing that I'm remembering right now is Mehov yesterday on Camille. He just absolutely popped off on that jungle pick. I'm interested to see if Hillerød will decide to ban it or counter pick it or respond with the jungler on their own, because he has shown yesterday that if you do not contain this man, he will take over the game.
I mean, as chat is saying, always remember, best jungler wins. And it is going to be a pretty fun matchup between Mini and Mehov. We saw some great plays in Camille with Mehov, absolutely just jumping on top of people, locking them down with the Hextech ultimatum, absolutely shut people down. In the end, no one could 1v1 him. No one could 1v2 him. Mini, though, he plays some interesting champions with Shaco, Kha'Zix, and Jarvan IV. These are, with Shaco, incredibly difficult champion to deal with, very, very gank heavy. All of his champions are very, very gank heavy. And Shaco, not so much of a team fighter, usually takes out the back line, whereas Jarvan is really able to, well, lock down people with his crater that he forms.
Yeah, so jungle matchup somewhere that we can look to, as both of these junglers are able to sorry, let me rephrase that. Both of the junglers are playing champions that they can exploit in order to gain so many different leads. I'm also just looking at Topaz as a whole since yesterday. Actually, they have shown a very good team play with that Cyan running it down into face hurt Syndra, and I am looking forward to seeing if they can replicate this level of team coordination against Hillerød today.
Absolutely. If you guys haven't seen that clip, go and watch it. It was absolutely incredible. The mid laner for Topaz, Facehurt, was just waiting inside of the jungle as Hydra was running away from the Scion ult. They walked straight into their trap and got absolutely destroyed by the damage that Facehurt Syndra was able to put out. It was absolutely beautiful to watch.
Yes, it definitely was. Alright, we will be just going into the draft in a few more seconds. I am seeing that there are just the last ready checks in the lobby. Last question, do you expect anything to be banned straight away?
I'm thinking that if Hillerød was watching the game yesterday, that Mehov's Camille is going to get banned out. I think it'll be a very bad idea to not get rid of that.
Yeah, it could definitely bite them in their behind, since yeah, we saw how strong that was. But Hillerød, you know, they also have been strong. Maybe it's not as fresh in our memories, since, you know, Topaz just yesterday 2-0'd Hydra, and Hillerød, well, they did lose to Hydra, but have been very dominant since. So we also need to watch out for them, because their playstyle is just as dominant as Topaz is, and they can definitely do what Topaz can, and maybe even better. So I am looking forward to seeing it right now. We should be getting the draft in just a few minutes. Teams are probably just getting ready. I don't know what is going on right now. So yeah, any last things you want to say?
One last thing, I did notice that the top laner for Hillerød Nanki does play a little bit of Poppy. So maybe if they don't get rid of the Camille, they're just going to run the Poppy to have that steadfast presence shut down any engage that Mehov's Camille wants to have. I always like seeing a Poppy come out.
Oh yeah, Poppy is one of these picks that she can be a very boring tank. She can also be, though, a very interesting playmaker, especially if she should be playing in the jungle instead of the top lane. So yeah, there is something very interesting. We are thinking that Hillerød, they are already ready. Topaz will be just waiting for them to confirm, and then we will be jumping into the champ select as soon as that happens. And alright, they are ready. We should be going into the picks and bans in just a matter of seconds. I honestly don't know. It's not pro draft, it is the league client, so this time. Therefore, you know, it might take some more time. And yeah.
Yeah, there's also the thing with the bans going on. Banning in the league client is a little bit different. Do we have the sort of the pro ban set up, or is it the standard 5 ban?
It is the normal setup of the banning. Just like, you know, everywhere you see it in LCS Worlds, any tournament, it is just the same thing in the client. Yes, it is the tournament draft, and we are already seeing Kai'Sa being removed by Topaz.
That makes sense. Topaz does not want to play against someone who can deal so much damage. I mean, who likes playing against Kai'Sa in the late game anyway? That does maybe mean that Topaz is looking for a more late game composition. Usually they play more aggressive and early.
Yes, Xayah as well removed, so that does mean that both of these teams are actually looking to remove the AD carries early on. Irelia, another very strong pick that can honestly go to anyone, and it makes sense to just get rid of it.
It looks like Selfway's fans in the chat are cheering for him. Everyone wants to see Selfway have a great game. Who doesn't want to see the support do well? Let's be perfectly honest. And there is the Camille ban, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, Camille is removed as well as the Lissandra. So Hillerød recognized that Mehov has been actually fairly strong at the champion, and fairly strong is a bit of an understatement. He went like 13-1 or 12-1 or something very close to these numbers. On the other hand, Topaz just getting rid of the Lissandra, it is a very safe pick that can be annoying, and the Alistar will run off the bans, and Lucian is the first pick for Topaz.
So that does go against what I was saying a little bit earlier. That means that maybe they aren't looking for a early game composition, that instead they may be looking for a late.
That is, however,
other way around, sorry.
Yeah, however, that is a Heimerdinger, and Shim has played it in the Wintersplit, and I believe that he also has played it a few times in the solo queue, so it could definitely be going towards that bot lane. If you paired with that Thresh, they would actually have a lot of presence. That does leave the Braum open though for Topaz.
Heimerdinger is a pain to deal with. Those turrets can deal a surprising amount of damage to you, and with Thresh being able to keep you in one area, keeping you in that turret range with his Flay and his ultimate, that could be a pretty deadly combo.
It could definitely be. Topaz actually getting themselves the Aatrox. It has the flex potential to go into either top lane or mid lane. Braum will be picked though. Topaz getting this strong dual lane in Lucian and Braum, maybe looking to punish this Heimerdinger and lack of his mobility.
Yes, that is one thing about Heimerdinger, is if you are being ganked as a Heimerdinger, if you do not land that stun grenade, chances are you're screwed if you don't have your turrets up or something along those lines, because he doesn't have any mobility. There's no dash or anything like that he has to get away, so he has to rely on his turrets to deal that extra damage and his stun grenade to keep distance between him and the enemy jungler.
And there's also the Jarvan from Hillerød that you talked about, a champion that can gank easily and also has a very good setup, fight setup potential. So yeah, they will be going for that. Now we are entering the second phase of the ban. San already removed a fairly stable top laner that can just pretty much do anything, and as long as you don't give over too many kills, he will still be useful.
Yes, that could be very good for him. In the Jarvan being able to just jump on top of someone and lock him down with that crater, and then Heimerdinger maybe spawning a ultimate turret. There's not a lot that the person inside of that crater can do besides maybe try to flash out. So that is definitely a very powerful pick for Hillerød.
The good thing is that we have Lucian and Aatrox both having dashes that can let them out now. Hillerød, thinking about their 5th ban, will actually stall out the timer, and it looks like it won't be a ban in the end. Probably they just timed out, and I don't know how does that count, but no 5th ban for now.
They're either very, very cocky, or they just had too many conflicting ideas on who to ban there.
I think it is the second one. I think it most likely is the ideas. You definitely don't want to be cocky, especially it's not the Wintersplit, it is actually the CSD. It is a league that has more teams who are being slightly more serious maybe than Topaz in the Wintersplit, sometimes pulling out something completely random like the AP shed we've seen yesterday. That was fun. However, we are going back into the picks after the bans. Ari was the last ban from Topaz. That was preceded by the Ergot, and Orianna looks to be picked by Hillerød, giving them a pretty decent teamfight potential.
That could be very, very good for him, with the Shockwave being able to just bring people into one point is absolutely incredibly powerful in a team fight scenario.
Right now, Topaz, they are thinking on their mid laner. Syndra is being hovered, and looks like it actually will be locked in for Facecard. He had a very good game on the champion yesterday, and this also Syndra also can punish Orianna in the laning phase.
Yeah, Syndra, once again, she doesn't really have mobility, so she is pretty vulnerable to ganks, but the amount of damage that she can pump out and the little bit of trolling you can do, say picking up blue buff, keeping it away from someone to stall it out, is incredibly powerful in lane and in team fighting.
It definitely is. Hillerød just hovering the Teemo for the BM at the very end. Obviously they are thinking about their pick, most likely the top laner, unless it is Jarvan top lane, but I doubt it. They will be looking to lock themselves something against the Ergot, and it will be the Poppy, or actually the Victor in the end.
So Victor top is something that we've seen in the LCS. It is a great counter to Aatrox because he can farm at range and not get punished by the darkened blades, and he is able to deal out some pretty considerable damage with his little shockwave.
Yeah, she definitely can. However, taking a broader look at these teams, what do they even want to go for? Because we have a lot of magic damage with AoE damage for the side of Hillerød, with the Victor, Shockwave, as well as the Heimerdinger, and then the Jarvan dealing the physical damage. Meanwhile, on the side of Topaz, we have more of a tank with a DPS composition. So what are the differences, and how do these teams want to play?
So as far as Topaz, well, both teams have a pretty heavy team fight potential. Braum with his gigantic knockups, and Ornn with the same, both with their ultimates, and Syndra being able to deal great AoE damage. But if Hillerød chooses to go very, very heavy on their magic defense, then maybe those aren't going to be able to do as much, in which case it's going to fall to the Lucian and Aatrox to deal the damage. So I think they're going to have to pay very close attention to what the enemy team is building, so they respond accordingly. And then as far as Hillerød, they have a great team fight potential. The Jarvan Victor combo is great because once you're inside of Jarvan's crater, there's no way you're going to be able to get away from Victor's stun or his ultimate. And there's Heimerdinger's stun grenade to think about too. The amount of combo potential there is absolutely devastating.
It definitely is, and I feel like we will just go into a very short break waiting for the spectator delay. So it will be just about 3 minutes given the time taking us to load into the game. So stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest, echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Do we fight to hold our heads up high and beat the drums through what we love? Risk the
So a little bit of an update on the banning phase, the possibly BM no ban on this side of Hillerød. It was actually supposed to be a Trundle ban. There's a little bit of a bug from that. So now that the game is starting, we're going to be seeing the Victor go top against Ornn. It's actually going to be Aatrox jungle. They don't want to be running that against the Victor.
No, it looks like they do not, and both of the teams are going onto the Rift in more or less 5-man stacks around the bot side, so we could be seeing some early shenanigans happening right There, Topaz going 5-man into that brush, will try and move into the jungle. Meanwhile, Hillerød actually also standing 5 men in the bush of their own, trying to protect from any sort of invade. They will though spot Topaz on that ward right now, and Shim, he decides that he wants to run away because that is not something you want to encounter. However, Tauber on the Thresh, if he lands the hook on a good target, and he actually lands it onto Cal, that's some nice damage. However, nothing will result, and both of these teams will just go back to start the game in a normal fashion.
Right, sometimes those early game trades, you're just kind of gauging whether or not you want to go on top and try to get a kill. And when there are 5 people there in level 1, it's kind of hard to really secure one. In a 3v3 or a 2v2 scenario, or if you have more people than the other side, then it is a little bit easier, but in that case, it just isn't worth the risk for either side.
Yeah, it's not. However, Shim actually on this Heimerdinger getting leash free into the bot lane will mean that he gets to shove out the lane early, and bot lane is a lane that I am paying quite a bit of attention to, since we have seen both of the teams being capable to play around that lane. However, I feel like Hillerød being more focused around doing so than Topaz. And, we have Braum and Lucian on one side, then there is the Heimerdinger and Thresh. So how does this dynamic work?
So Heimerdinger and Thresh is able to lock down an area really, really well with his hooks. As soon as you try to peek from behind minions, you run the chance of getting
and talking about getting hooked, Selfie actually is going to get chucked to half HP with the Ignite as well, but will make it out. Meanwhile, topside jungle, Mini and Mayhoff are trading. Phaser is trying to come up in the topside. Meanwhile, Jizu might be in a 1v2 Mini auto-attacking. However, neither of these teams really want to commit. Meanwhile, however, Knudsen not finding himself stand, and looks like everyone will make it out in the end.
Just a little bit of friendly back and forth there, but it does look like a little bit of spice onto the Orianna there, but everyone's going to be getting out alive.
And we see already that with the Tauber's pressure on that Thresh, Shim is already starting to find himself a minor goal lead. With the wave pushed in, he will only be able to extend it as long as Cal and Selfie are staying under that turret. So well played in the early laning phase, but they really need to look to try and extend it if it will be significant at all.
So what we were talking about with Heimerdinger is able to control an area, say, hey, you can't really push back here. If you do, you have to deal with these turrets, and if you do try to go and kill the turrets, you might end up in a little bit of a pickle.
Yeah, and we are seeing a fairly, apart from that, a fairly calm. However, there was the action in the top side laning phase, no kills going in for either person. Both teams are looking though, like we saw that trade in the top lane. It just showed that they don't want to relent, but they do, but when they take the fight, they want to make sure that it is the right one and that they can win it.
It looks like there was going to be a gank top lane, but since Nonky had that ward in the jungle bush, he was able to retreat in time, and Mayhoff was not able to engage. Mayhoff figured out pretty fast that there was vision on him and started to go back into his jungle.
Yeah, not really too much opportunity right now. That just ties into what I said right now, with both teams trying to look for it, but they're not really hurrying up. They want to just set up the play that will get them ahead and set it up so that it works 100% of the time, not just it being a 50-50 or even a 70-30. Actually, Mini getting executed in the top side. That is unlucky.
Yeah, sometimes those Krugs can catch you off guard a little bit. What are you gonna do, He needed it back anyway.
Yeah, I guess that's some faster recall. Meanwhile, bot lane, there was some trading, shimping out of mana. That's a nice hook landing onto Cal. Tauber falls with the flame, flash away from Cal, but can he get out alive? Flash forward from Shim, does not get the kill. Kill as well, Shim running Velo. This is the first blood for Cal, and another kill drops as Selfie picks that one up. It's a 2-4-0 in a 2v2 for Topaz's bot lane.
That worked out very, very well for Topaz there. Sometimes they can get just a little bit over aggressive, and against a Braum Lucian, that doesn't really work for you. With a Heimerdinger Thresh, what you're kind of looking for isn't to engage so much as to keep them from engaging onto you. But there they got a little bit aggressive since they're doing so well in the laning phase, keeping them pushed under tower. Thought, hey, let's go in and deal some damage. But the defense Braum was able to have there didn't let them do much on it.
Yeah, and also Shim is running the teleport, which is the preferred choice on Heimerdinger, but you have less combat summoner spells. The heal in the end proved to be the turning point of that fight, as Cal just like barely survived under the turret with that heal and then managed to turn it around. So the Hammer pick, it might be a really good pusher, but we just saw it. If Hillerød are not careful enough, Topaz will punish them, and they already have done so, and the Bilgewater Catalyst already completed on Cal.
So that is going to give them just that little bit of extra damage and the little bit of lifesteal there to help a little bit in lane, keep the sustain going, so then they can control it a little bit better against the Heimerdinger and maybe not have it be constantly pushed under tower. Also, one bad thing about having it be pushed under tower constantly is it opens you up to ganks. It's very hard to gank an enemy when they're under tower, but it's very easy to gank an ally who is.
Yes, and you know, we wait. So let me continue. Actually, let me rephrase my point because I completely lost my train of thought there. The junglers, yes, it is very easy to gank. However, so far we have not really seen any of them having any successful attempts at that. We saw Mehov just poking his head out in a few places, trading with Mini, mostly sticking to farming his jungle. And yeah, you said it, the bot lane for Hillerød is pushing. That does make it more difficult. However, right now we might be seeing something from Topaz going on in the bot lane.
Yeah, they're gathering up, looking for a little bit of an engage. They're going to try to let them push forward a little bit, though, so then they don't have to be fighting so close to the tower.
Yeah, and right now, after these two kills, the game actually has slightly slowed down in the mid lane. Some trading Phaser will find the stun onto Knudsen and get the trade win. He does have the ultimate and the heal, so Knudsen has to be careful. Shockwave is dropped down, but Mini is in the mid lane and will secure the kill.
That was exactly what needed to happen there for
Hillerød. So
Hillerød there.
Yeah, they do manage to secure the kill, and Phaser will be put slightly behind, which is very, very big since Syndra, she does want to bully her lane opponent more than not, and Orianna feels more comfortable scaling into the team fight. So right now Phaser will actually need to pick up the pace and get some advantages of his own, or Knudsen on this Orianna will be very, very strong.
Yeah, Orianna is someone you don't want to get too far ahead into the late game, and it looks like Mini's going to be taking the Drake as well. That's going to be a very good... It's not maybe the best Drake you want to have, you know, just a clown, you know, okay, whatever. But still, that sort of shows that they're having a little bit more map control and a little bit just overall, they have things under control in this matchup.
They definitely do, and the Cloud Drake will actually allow for some faster rotation, so we could see Mini being more active, especially that now he has surpassed the level 6 mark and has more potent ganks. He is sitting in the mid lane though. Phaser has no flash, only heal available. He's already dropped to 300 HP. Can Mini and Knudsen find the kill? The speed movement from Orianna is not there. Heal has been expended, but it is the flag and drag into the knock-up into yet another kill. Selfway in the river though, he might get killed out. The hook is still saved from tower. Nice glitch Fissure and Tail, who will pick the kill onto Shim. So Lucian now 2-0 and 1, and the fight looks like it might continue. Tower still fishing for something. Mehov is in the bot lane though, and he finds the double knockup Shockwave onto 2 members, but will not find anything, and Mehov on the Aatrox in the front line, trying to deal the damage. Mini in the meantime will pick up the kill onto Selfway, and looks like the fight will go 3-4-2 in favor of Topaz.
That isn't really what Topaz wanted there, but for Hillerød, they managed to come out ahead there, putting the bot lane a little bit further behind.
And Jesus' teleport actually has been cancelled by Nonky. He tried to help his team and Nonky just put the gravity field down and said you're not going anywhere, and that does put the teleport on the full cooldown, which means that Topaz really have restricted map playmaking abilities. However, there is one thing that went really well for them. Kyle has been able to pick up more kills. He's 3-0 and 2 right now, has the Blade of the Ruined King completed and already the Phage as well. He did decide to wait more with the boots, which will mean that he has less mobility, but his damage right now is actually very strong and has to be respected.
Yes, so we have the replay there. What was happening there in the bot lane, what we were seeing was some really great things. It's hard to know when to TP, and with Victor, you can absolutely just shut down a TP and decide like, hey, you know, you're actually not going to go and help your team. And the fact that that's now on a full cooldown is going to be pretty rough.
Yeah, it could definitely be rough, and yeah, right now we are 12 minutes in. Topaz are sitting with the goal lead, however Hillerød, they are securing control around this Herald. Looks like they will be trying to play around it. Meanwhile, Mini, alright, nothing will happen in the river right now.
So what we are seeing right now is a little bit more control, map control on the side of Hillerød, but we have some great kills for Topaz. Overall, they do have the lead. So right now we're looking, Topaz needs to catch up in the top lane, and Hillerød needs to maybe secure their lead in the top lane and the mid lane. Topaz, I think, needs to babysit their mid lane a little bit more. Maybe bot lane needs to roam up there, or Mehov needs to spend a little bit more time in that area to try and put that Syndra where she needs to be as far as damage goes. And it looks like Mini's going to be hitting the Rift Herald.
Yes, however, in the bot lane, Cal is showing that he has a lot of damage. The Herald, as you said, will be secured. Mini picking that one up. He might actually get caught by Jizu, already have HP, but will flag and drag over the wall. Hook in the bot lane landing onto Cal will just result in some poke. So Mini and Hillerød have the Herald, they have the tool to try and swing the gold lead into their advantage, because right now they are staring at a 2000 gold deficit, and this Lucian is going to give unrelenting pressure. Meanwhile, we might be looking at the dive in the bot lane. Glacial Fissure knock up onto one person. Cal under the turret running very low will actually get taken down by Shim in the end, but it is 2 kills for 0. Nonky in the bot lane, picking up the kill onto Selfo, and Mehov might be in a tricky spot, however will be allowed to disengage in the end.
Like we were talking about, the control that Heimerdinger has managed to come out, 2 for 2. Both teams got some good kills there. And it's very difficult to engage a Heimerdinger underneath a tower, but they decided to go for it anyway, and it did sort of pay off. But that is putting the Jarvan at 3 and 2, which is very, very good. But to be said, the Lucian is at 4-1, and since he is keeping up with farm, he is quite ahead in the item game. Heimerdinger only has the Luden's Echo, whereas Lucian already has Bork, and he's building his second item with along with a little bit of magic resist.
Yeah, he will have this item advantage, and that does mean that right now Topaz actually will have slightly more damage in the teamfights if they execute them well, because let's not forget, we have the combo of Jarvan and Orianna. In the teamfight, they will completely decimate Topaz if they aren't careful enough. Meanwhile, top lane, Mehov might be coming up for a gank. Nonky will just disengage though.
Yeah, that's something you have to be very wary of whenever you're playing a mage top lane. Is you need to have great vision in your river. You need to always be watching that, because if you get ganked, there isn't sometimes a lot you can do. So you have to play very, very carefully.
You definitely do, and Hillerød once again get the priority on the dragon. Another Cloud Drake. not the most influential dragon, but will allow them for the rotations, as I said earlier. And with 2 dragons actually, it might compound to something, since you have the Thresh, Talbot has the Moby boots, so he might be looking for some roams, and Mini on the Jarvan as well. He needs to be in so many different places. So with that pickup, Hillerød set themselves up for some roams. Cal, nice dodge on the hook. If that landed, that could have spelled the end for him, but he will stay alive though.
Now, watching for that Thresh wind-up, trying to play those mind games a little bit there is very important. So far, Cal's been doing a good job. Playing a mobile hero like Lucian can really pay off against the Thresh.
Yeah, you do have that relentless pursuit to just dodge the hook whenever it comes flying into your face. Right now we are at 16 minutes and the game has relatively slowed down since the last fight. No turrets have yet been taken, and no fights have erupted since. The Herald on Mini will be running out in about half a minute or so, so Hillerød really needs to watch to use it, and it will be summoned in the top lane right now. The top lane turret will likely fall with this Herald. One charge should do it, so can Topaz respond in the bot lane?
Yeah, they're going to look to trade. If they can manage to get the first tower gold, that'd be very, very good. Herald still has a little bit of ways to go.
Yeah, the first turret is picked up, however Topaz will maybe trade it in the bot side. The turret is at half HP and the wave is slowly running out, so they might have to wait for the next wave, or they will actually just feel comfortable with taking the turret. And the gold is still at where it was standing, at 1000 gold for Topaz. However, the turrets have been broken and we can expect some more map movement from both of these teams.
That's right, the double cloud is giving them some great roaming potential, so I wouldn't be surprised to see some 5-man groups possibly in the side lanes or just in the mid lane to help secure their tower lead here.
Yeah, it could definitely be the case. Right now we actually see Call of the Forge got aimed at Knudsen, but great Dark Passage will get him to safety right now, and Topaz, I think they just showed that they really want to get this mid priority to try and drop the start before their opposition can do so. And yeah, right now we are just, 18 minutes in, still 1000 gold, not too much has happened. Bot lane for Topaz has been rotated up to the top lane. Shim is sitting as a split push Heimerdinger with that teleport. It is one of the few AD that can actually take up that role, especially with this summoner spell choice.
Yeah, having those sums available to you, it's a little bit different, but it allows the Heimerdinger to get back into lane and really push it into that tower and have such a great lane presence as well as map presence, being able to go and help his team whenever he needs to.
Yes, and currently we actually are seeing a fairly different playstyle than what we would see in the Wintersplit right now. It is the CSD, and both of these teams, they are playing more patient, more calculated. It is a much slower action than what we are used to from what we have seen from these teams so far. We are 19 minutes in and it's only, it is 12 kills, which you could argue is quite a bit. However, it is a much slower, much more controlled kind of gameplay. And we are going to have to see which team will come out on top, because it is only a 1000 gold lead. This gold lead can't be swung by just one team fight.
Yeah, what we've been seeing from Topaz just yesterday was a lot of really aggressive fighting. In fact, by this point, it'd be one of the inhibitor turrets being contested instead of just some of the outer turrets.
And right now, Hillerød, they are actually getting the priority over the mid lane. Jizu is coming up, has the Ornhorn available to his name. The bot lane will come up from Topaz, but it might be too late. Ornhorn is blowing right now, trying to clear out the minion wave. The turret might be still dropping, and the fight looks like it might be inevitable. The turret will fall in the end. Selfie does get through. That's a nice shotgun to the backline, but does not secure any kills. Behoff pops down into the wall, and Jizu has to flash over the wall to safety. The turret in the top lane will be traded, and the fight results in just a kill onto Facehurt.
So that turret down is going to be pretty important for Hillerød there. They now have the ability to push into inhibitor turret and possibly soon, maybe just next team fight, get one of the inhibitor turrets down. Facehurt is not having as great of a game as he was having yesterday. Yesterday he was able to do a lot on that Syndra, but today it's just not quite finding it, and that is thanks to Mini's pressure in the mid lane, and Nudson's ability with that Orianna has been able to pressure down Facehurt quite a bit. Now Facehurt is going to have to look to get fed in other ways, maybe big farm, wait for a big wave to come up, and it looks like Victor is going to be pushing the bot lane in.
Yeah, Nonky will now be the person sent into the bot lane. However, right now with these two turrets mid lane, Hillerød will have so much pressure to go into the jungle of Topaz and just place their wards right now. They have so much more access. We already see that deep ward in the mid lane, which will help them quite a lot to determine what Topaz are up to. And this can only get much worse. So Topaz, how do they try and get back in the objectives?
So I'm thinking we're going to have to either see some very hard split pushes, maybe just Jezu going off on the bot lane while Topaz forces down mid or elsewhere to try to get Hillerød off of that lane and get some damage down on one of the turrets. And right now it looks like they're going to be getting this Mountain Drake, which is definitely going to help them take down towers.
Not only towers, it will also increase their Baron damage. Both of these teams are really being cautious playing around these objectives. Obviously Baron is the story of throws and of big comebacks where literally the tide of the game can be turned around, so you don't want to be on the losing end of that exchange. And yeah, it will help them secure the turrets, and we're going to have to see what use they can make of it.
Right now they haven't done a whole lot. There's just a little bit of trade in the bot lane. This bot turret is looking very low though.
Yeah, it is looking very low, and Nonky actually has the pressure over Jizu. He has more wave clear, and it is the Victor. He has become very obnoxious with this kind of bruiser damage kind of tank build, when he can just poke you and slow you, and you can't really even kill him because his shield on the Q is just gonna be insanely strong. So it will be just a matter of time before Nonky takes that one down, and Topaz need to look to get something in exchange when that does happen. But it looks like they won't be able to, as Nonky will take it right away. Oh, mid lane, Shimmy might be in the bad spot, flash away, just barely survives. Cal showing he still has damage on the shield, flashes forward and he secures the kill, but can he get out the hook landing onto him, and it might spell the death sentence. He does try to get some more damage, but ultimately Knudsen secures the kill. Jisoo teleports into the mid lane, landing the Ornhorn on multiple members. The shockwave is still available though, and the gravity field will bring back the top laner for Topaz, who is standing in the middle of everyone, trying to survive. A 4-man shockwave from Knudsen will absolutely demolish Topaz. Facer trying to run away, but there is no running away. It is 3 kills already. Mayhoff popping down into the resurrection, looking to be the 4th one, trying to run away with the aftershock, throwing the Dark Embrace. Knudsen forced to use the stopwatch. Mayhoff might actually make it out, and it is only 3 kills for 1, but Hero was still coming out on the top.
Hillerød definitely came out ahead there, and they have now evened up the kill lead that Topaz has been keeping throughout this game. It is now 9-9, and after this back, they're going to be looking to punish these kill timers, and the fact that now everyone on Topaz is just a little bit behind.
Yes, and with that fight, Hillerød have shown their strength. If Knudsen manages to nail another Orianna shockwave just like that one, this is pretty much an insta-win. Facer did find some stuns. Meanwhile, you actually see Shim and Cal once again just duoing in the mid lane. Cal is desperately trying to find these pigs, but coming back to my point, if Knudsen finds these shockwaves, then this is pretty much a fight won. We saw Facer trying to find some stuns, find some damage, but it just is not enough when you've got a huge AoE ability that deals quite a lot of damage to anyone that gets caught by it.
As the amount of damage and crowd control Hillerød is able to put out is great. The Thresh with his...
We might be seeing another fight. Shim actually does get taken down. Mayhoff on the rampage. Hillerød overstepping in the mid lane.
Something you got to be very careful of. Lucian is definitely nothing to laugh at right now. Cal right now is 5-2, although his team is somewhat behind, he is not himself. And he is able to put out some great damage if his allies can CC for him, which right now they seem to be doing a little bit of a better job than they were just a little while ago.
Yeah, and we actually see how Tower tried to find the pick onto Selfway, and it did turn back onto them. So Hillerød, they can find the picks with the Thresh, but they need to be very careful because Mayhoff on the Aatrox, he is 4-0-2 and he is going to be stacking up these items. He's going to be an obnoxious bruiser with quite a lot of damage and a lot of tankiness to pair that up with.
So what we're seeing right now is just that little bit of back and forth. It's definitely still either one's game.
Yeah, however, we're seeing in the top lane phase, they're just gonna cut out 1 versus 3 Knudsen, picking up an easy kill. It did look for a second that Phaser could have turned it around onto Tower, but Mini Knudsen coming in with the CC, with the damage, and 0-5 on the Syndra. He really needs to be more careful about where he is standing right now because he's not having a lot of impact.
Right, Hillerød is really focusing him down, farming him for gold, making sure that he's not able to do as much as he was doing just last game. Maybe they were watching, maybe they've done their research and know that he is a very good Syndra player, so they've just been trying to keep him down. Right now, it is working.
It is working very well because we see Phaser only sitting on 1 item, picking up components to try and complete his second one. On the other side, Knudsen is sitting on 2 items already and looking towards the Zhonya's Hourglass. And taking a look across the items, we see that Hillerød are ahead across the board. We have 3 items compared to 2 on Jizu. However, right now we might be seeing a fight between these top laners. The entire squad of Topaz is trying to come for Donkey to secure the kill. He throws down the Chaos Sword, but it just is not enough, and Cal picks up the shutdown. But Hillerød, they are turning onto the Baron.
If Hillerød managed to take this Baron, that could be the end game for them.
Yes, the Baron is dropping down very low. Phaser, the only person in the range to do anything. Tower will get taken down. The Baron is to 1500 HP. Can anyone get into there? No, they cannot. Mini will steal it very easily, but now can Topaz find the kills they need? It is the double kill onto Phaser. 2 members down already. Flash over the wall from Selfway, trying to find some picks. And looks like the remaining members of Hillerød Esports will make it out alive, or will they? Jizu trying to force something, and Baron has been secured, but it is only remaining on 2 members.
Topaz managed to knock out some of that Baron buff, and now that is only left on 2 people, Knudsen and Shim. That means that the Baron power play will be a lot more manageable for Topaz to deal with. They only had to take out 2 people. They only had to defend from 2 Baron waves at most, so they may be able to keep all their inhibitors and possibly the turrets that they have alive.
And they do manage to top it off with an Infernal Drake, so that will be definitely helpful to push that face hurt scaling on the Syndra. The late game one-shot potential being alive right now. It will also help Mayhoff get some more damage, as well as Cal. Both of these people, not necessarily the strongest in the late game, but will pack a punch.
So this can definitely still be Topaz's game right now.
However,
does seem to have the advantage.
We see Tower going into the middle of the team. He's going to get taken down immediately. He thought he gets the pick onto Cal. Nice 3-man shockwave over Cal, flashing over the wall. He wants to get a kill onto Mini, but he might have overextended and will pay with his life for it.
There isn't a lot that you can do. I mean, it's really just try to not get baited. Because if you try to overextend, try to chase that kill, you can end up alone and your team not able to help you.
We see Nonky actually in a 1 versus 2 situation. He flashes out and he might be on a good end of that trade. The inhibitor turret top lane has fallen as a return.
So now Topaz is going to have a difficult job trying to keep that inhibitor up. Right now, pretty much any time Hillerød can go and split push that lane in and try to take that inhibitor. So they're going to have to be very wary, very attentive on that lane.
They definitely do. And right now, Hillerød, they need to try and close this game out whilst they have the lead. Yes, they do have the late game potential. However, right now, they still have some Baron remaining on the members. It will actually run out soon. But Knudsen is 4-0 and 5 on the Orianna. We see Nonki slowly scaling up, and they will be at a very strong spot. However, I have a question for you. If this game will stall out for 10 more minutes, let's say we see a 40-minute game, which of these teams do you favor in the late game?
I think right now I'm going to have to favor Hillerød. They have the Victor and the Orianna, two great late game champions, and right now they do have that little bit of extra gold to help them as well. So that means that the champions that maybe wouldn't be quite as late game, such as the Heimerdinger and the Thresh, still have that ability.
Alright, we are seeing a siege from Hillerød in the bot lane. They will take the turret easily. They have complete vision control in the bot side jungle. They have the zoning tools with Shim's grenade and Knudsen's shockwave, and therefore Topaz will not risk it. They do not want to throw the game at that point, since it is a 4,000 gold lead, but at this point in the game, it is very much surmountable, and Topaz with one good fight can get themselves back, so throwing it all on one card is not something that they want to do.
That's right, and the Dragon will be coming up pretty soon as well, so there's going to be a little bit of watching there. Maybe try to... Either team will be trying to secure that, because right now they are now even in Dragons. So whoever managed to get it will then
Call of the
Dragon
Forgeot in the mid lane. Shim will take the Dark Passage. And Mini, he is looking for something covered that is two ultimates burned, combine that with the Worldender for no real gain from Topaz.
So those are ultimates down, but luckily for Topaz, Ornn's ult is not on a very long cooldown. He'll have that up before too long, possibly by the next team fight. And right now, with Facehurt now having that spell shield from Banshee's Veil, will make him a little bit more survivable if he sticks with his team and doesn't get caught out like he was a little while ago.
And the Baron is not even close to spawning right now, so Hillerød, they need to try and pressure these lanes. Those are the only objectives that they can take. Actually, right now the Baron timer has popped up, so it will be 2 minutes from now. But meanwhile, in these 2 minutes, Topaz, they aren't under any real threat of big neutral objectives being taken. So they can just try and wave clear these waves and make sure to not get caught out, so that Hillerød cannot have any real leverage over them.
That's right. So what these people are going to be trying to do is try to secure a little bit more of a farm, try to get a little bit more CS and catch up in the gold count. Right now it's 54.5 to 59.4. So Hillerød definitely has the advantage there. So if Topaz can catch up a little bit in gold, either through kills or CS, this will be a much more even game. And they got to keep eyes on this Baron. Right now, neither team has any wards there except for some control wards on the sides of Hillerød on the way there. Which means they might be able to catch out some people if they do try to go for it. But as far as any actual vision on the Baron itself goes, neither team has anything.
Yes, and right now, as you said it, there isn't really any vision from Hillerød, but with the lead that they have, they should have the priority over it. I said that their lead isn't really very huge, but it is good enough to give them a sizable advantage in the fight, since you have 3.5 items on Knudsen compared to 2.5 items on Facehurt, and whereas we don't see any other two major advantages, we all obviously see Nonki on the Victor out CSing and having more items than Jizu, but when it comes to the carries right now, Hillerød will have the advantage. So Topaz, even though they aren't out, they need to pick their fights very, very carefully, and Hillerød will just take the free Mountain Dragon.
So now Hillerød has the Drake lead, and that little bit of extra Baron damage will help them, because Baron is coming up soon.
Yeah, actually Topaz are starting in this on 5,000 gold, and Hillerød are there to respond. You might be going in for a full-blown fight. The Glacial Fissure has been dropped down, and the Baron is secured by Topaz. That's a nice knock-up. Knudsen already burns his shockwave to no real effect, and Jizu is in the back front line just soaking up so much damage. Minion, the backline cannot make anything happen. Nonky will just stall it out, will actually get shut down. So Hillerød will get 1 kill, but Topaz get the Baron and get out alive.
That Baron will definitely help them right here. Now is a chance to secure a little bit closer to the tower count. Right now it is just 3-7. So Topaz has a little bit of a uphill battle there. They have to catch up. So Hillerød is responding by pushing down the mid lane and forcing Topaz to group up and keep them from taking this inhibitor turret.
Also, the kill going on to Mayhope means that for now 15 more seconds, Topaz are not in their full strength. This means that they really cannot pressure any of these turrets. They have taken all the inner towers, and for them to have any real threat onto the, all the outer turrets, and for them to have any real threat on the inner ones, they really need to find some sort of advantage, because they are still 5,000 gold behind. That has not changed since the last time I mentioned it, which was probably like a minute ago, since I am talking quite a lot about it. And, you know, this game gets to a state where one team fight will pretty much decide the entire thing.
That's right, watching for the team fights will be incredibly important. One little mistake on either team could spell disaster for them, as both teams have been showing a very good job of engaging on top of mistakes that they find.
Yes, and right now, actually, Topaz are grouping 5 members mid lane to try and pressure this turret. However, Mini is actually sitting behind them on a control ward, so Topaz have no way of knowing that the flank may be incoming. Pair that up with an Orianna ultimate, it could spell disastrous, but Hillerød are not pulling the trigger quite yet, and Topaz back off smelling something fishy.
Sometimes just a little bit of that sixth sense, maybe realizing that something could be a trap and leaving. It is definitely not cowardly to live to fight another day.
It most definitely isn't, especially when your entire comeback hinges on one mistake. You make one mistake, and I don't think that Hillerød will give you another chance. So Topaz, they really need to pick their chances wisely, where they decide to make them. We are seeing Haber Facert building not necessarily into one item. That does mean that his damage will get delayed and come back in one spike. So for now, Knudsen in the teamfights will actually out-damage him, and Facert is the person that we will need to watch out in the late game. So as soon as he will hit some more major items, that is when he can start again over. Until that time, Topaz will be at a disadvantage.
Yes, so Topaz right there a little bit behind, but they could still pull it ahead. They actually do have the kill lead, but the gold lead is still not in their favor. 5k, or now more than that, on the side of Hillerød ahead of Topaz. So they had to be incredibly careful when engaging on top of team fights, because Hillerød actually will do a little bit more damage. Also, because of that, they can't really go off and split push. Instead, they have to stick together as a team.
Yes, we are seeing that Topaz are trying to get the 5-man stack in the middle lane to try and force these turrets right now, and Hillerød, they are just grouping and threatening to get that wombo combo off. The side lane is taking a look at the bot lane. It will push in Topaz's favor. Top lane, I believe that Hillerød will have the slow push there. So if Topaz can play well around that push, they could be forcing some objectives, but right now it's just so hard to crack Hillerød.
Hillerød has been doing a great job of not really making mistakes. We have seen a few little things here and there. We've seen Tauber be off by himself a couple of times, and chat's been pointing that out a little bit. But it seems like they have everything under control now, and really playing it safe, but not being afraid to take the fights when they need to.
Big thing, Knudsen just completed the death cap on the Orianna. This guy's gonna have so much damage in the next team fight that if he can find this big shockwave, it will be the disaster for Topaz, and they decide that they do not want to siege that turret because the threat is so real that they really need to be careful. And also, the top lane turret will be pushing against them, so they need to send someone there. Meanwhile, the Elder Dragon will actually respawn in 50 seconds.
So that Elder Dragon is going to be very, very important. Both teams have considerable drags that having the Elder Dragon buff them, make them more powerful, will be incredibly great for either team. And as far as Topaz, having that Elder Drag buff up their Infernal Drake that they have would maybe help them bridge that item gap that they have and match the damage that Hillerød is pointing out.
Yeah, it will take them a while though. Now, Facer has completed his Morello Nomicon. That means that his damage will get slightly better now. He's sitting on these 3 items on Syndra, and if he can find the stun into a nice ultimate, then he can burst someone down, especially that Shim. He doesn't have any real magic resist. He is sitting on 38 magical resistance at level 17. I don't believe that anything in his runes or whatever actually gives him any magic resist with that number, but right now we could be seeing Hillerød going in for some sort of fight. These Elder Dragon will be heavily contested, and the Call of the Forge is going into the middle of the team. Shim comes down into the Zonias, however the Shockwave only onto 2 members. Cal is though forced away from the fight, and Meho picks up tower. Facer getting the kill onto mid. It is already 2 kills for the side of Topaz. Jisoo in the front line going in, tanking the damage. Cal getting stand up with the gravity field, but is still able to get away. Selfway is gonna get picked off by Shim. Jisoo still trying to just try and pick some damage with the CC, but he might actually be the one getting cut down. Nonki and Knudsen trying to deal the damage to get him killed, and looks like they will be able to do so as Knudsen picks up the kill. It is a 2-4-2 in the end.
That definitely played out in the favor of Topaz there, although it maybe wasn't quite as clean as they were hoping. It still managed to be definitely very, very good for them. They have taken a tower, and is there a little bit of spicy stuff going on?
Yeah, Shim actually does end up picking the kill onto Facer. They do trade it, however, for an inhibitor turret mid lane. So there's a kill for an inhibitor tower, but that does put Hillerød in a favorable position around this Nasher. Since Topaz, they are only 3 members right now, and that does not change for another 20 seconds. The Baron has been started.
If they can manage to get one of these, to get another Baron, that may be just enough for them to push and secure that lead that they've been looking for.
Yeah, the Baron has been in the end secured by Hillerød. The pick onto Facer proved to be crucial in getting that one under their belt, and now the Elder Dragon, it still stands, and Hillerød, with the pressure, they could be looking to take it. However, the Dragon has been started to teleport from Jisoo into the bot lane. Topaz definitely do not want to give that one up.
Right, they did have to give up the Baron, but if they also have to give up the Elder Drag, that would be incredibly bad for them, and Hillerød will probably be able to end the game off of that.
Yeah, however, we see the Call of the Fortune going into the pit. Mehov is in the pit. Who will take the Dragon in the end? It will be the red team not keeping up the kill. However, Tower has already fallen. A nice shockwave onto 2 members. Selfway will get cut down. Cal trying to dish out the damage onto Noki, who is running dangerously low. Jisoo in the backline will get cut down. No choice available. Mehov getting over the wall with the Guardian Angel. It is the Dragon for the side of Hillerød, and they managed to pick themselves 2 kills with only 1 returning against them.
So that is what Hillerød was looking for there. They now have the Baron buff, the power play. They're going to be able to do a lot with that. They may be able to end the game here as well.
They could very much do so, and yeah, with the double buffs, they might be sieging it down, but right now they aren't really setting up for it. Yes, they have some time, but don't remember, the first Elder Dragon is only 2 minutes, and they will be looking to siege down the mid lane to make the full use of that. However, Topaz already pretty much waited out half of that timer.
Yes, stalling out the Baron buff can be very, very important since it is on a timer. It is a limited time thing. There's only a minute left for Hillerød there, and they're going to want to do something with it, maybe trade another inhibitor turret.
They will be definitely trying to take that one for free. They are now hammering away on it. The superior wave clear from them will make sure that they secure the turret and possibly the inhibitor thereafter. The inhibitor already has fallen down. It looks like it is the general disengage. They will be happy with taking that objectives, getting to spend their gold and try for another fight. Or actually, they might be going in for the top lane.
Yeah, getting the top lane inhib down, even though they don't have the minions.
We might
there to
be
help them.
seeing a fight right now. The Call of the Forge landing onto the members. However, that's a great cataclysm onto 3 people from Mini, but no shockwaves to follow up. That's a nice 3-man shockwave, but mostly onto the tanks. Cal now trying to kite back, and the Guard Angel has been popped from Mini, but Knudsen is godlike, and the tank from Topaz has been killed.
Topaz just losing that little bit of chance of lead that they were looking for, and now they're going to have to just try as hard as they can. There isn't a lot that they can do.
Khan actually jumps in, gets the shutdown onto Knudsen. If he can stay out alive, that could be huge, but will get return killed onto by Mini. Facer, the only carry alive. Can he call Topaz in this game? He will take down Mini. One turret has already fallen. Shin has no Zhonya's Hourglass. Mayhov trying to deal the damage with the Dark Embrace, but will get hooked. And Shim is on a rampage. Facer, the only person left alive. Noki will cat him down. The Nexus has been exposed. It is the last kill, and Hillerød will get the ace, and they will get the game won.
There it is, the game 1 for Hillerød. They put up a great game with great objective control there. They had dragon control since the beginning, and even though they didn't have the kill lead, they kept pressuring the towers and they kept shutting down where they were ahead and keeping that lead, that the leads where they did have it, and eventually the tower lead and the CS lead turned into kill leads, ending it 19-22 on the side of Hillerød.
Yeah, we saw Hillerød taking the game. However, Topaz, they weren't really far away from the comeback. Yes, Hillerød did manage to sustain a goal lead through pretty much the entire game, apart from maybe some little points in the early game. But what do Topaz want to change coming into game 2?
So Topaz, they didn't do a great job of helping out Facehurt when he got behind. Hillerød was focusing down Facehurt the entire game, and Facehurt was hardly able to do anything until the very end. So maybe babysitting him a little bit more and trying to keep him ahead will help out Topaz against Hillerød, because Hillerød, as it stands, you need that little bit of extra damage against them. Topaz just wasn't able to put out quite as much damage as they needed to. Whenever they did take out one person, they ended up losing 2.
Yeah, and with that note, we will go into a short break before the game 2 to see if Hillerød will take that one 2-0, or if Topaz takes us to game 3, so stay tuned.
Legends never die when the world is calling you. Can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die, they become a part of you. Every time you play for reaching greatness, relentless, you survive. They never lose hope when everything's cold and the fighting's near. It's deep in their bones, they'll rot into smoke when the fire is fierce. Oh, pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die when the
take us. Your heart is starting to slow. May the water be safe. As I dive in, bloodstains washing underneath the waves. A beat reaching out to keep you safe. As we fall, I can't hold on much longer. We're drifting down to the other side. Try to pull us under. Keep holding out for the other side. Tell me where do I go? Tell me where do I take? Where do I go? Tell me where do I take? The heart is starting to slow. May the water be safe.
Hello and welcome everyone, we are back for the draft for the game 2 after a fairly controlled but a stalled out victory. Hillerød will be looking to close this game out, whereas Topaz will be trying to get their redemption. I'm Kachka, joined by Litzy once again.
Yep, Topaz there, they didn't have the best game that they could have, and they're going to be looking to win out this one since this is the match for the #1 spot in CSD. This is pretty tight for them. They want to come out ahead.
Yeah, they definitely do. We see fairly similar bans. We see Zaya Camille taken away by Hillerød, Irelia by Topaz, but the Lucian as well taken off the board, which is fairly interesting to see.
Yes, it is pretty interesting, especially coming from the side of Topaz, since you'd expect maybe Hillerød to ban out the Lucian, since Cal was able to do quite a bit on him, even though they did lose. That was definitely a champion he was doing very, very well on, but instead it is Topaz banning him out, so maybe they have a little bit of a plan for an ADC that would be countered by Lucian.
Yes, Kai'Sa is open, which is something that we have seen quite a lot, and it has been a very strong AD carry that is countered by that Lucian pick. We see though Hillerød looking in the Lissandra, which is a very safe team fighting kind of pick champion that can pretty much do anything that you would want, and there is the Kai'Sa that I was talking about, looks to be paired up with the Thresh.
So the Kai'Sa Thresh combo, very, very powerful there. Thresh being able to give Kai'Sa the ability to ult in on top of people and keep someone in one spot for the missiles to land on them. And Kai'Sa, because of that late game ability, it seems that they may be looking to push this game out as well. The last game
that's
did
a Jinx
take quite a
pick.
while.
That is a Jinx.
Jinx is fun.
That's not something that we are seeing that often, and it will mean that Hillerød want to go maybe for more that late game side of game, since, you know, Kai'Sa, while still strong in late game, I do dare say that Jinx does outscale her.
Yes, Jinx late game is an absolute monster, able to take down turrets incredibly quickly, and pairing with a Morgana. If Morgana lands a binding, then Jinx's chompers can keep them there even longer. Running cheap shot on Jinx is actually a very good idea because of that. So, the question is, will they be able to pull it off? Jinx is a little bit difficult early game until she gets that Runans and other items to really get her that damage and attack speed that she needs. But until then, she is pretty easy to gank if you can just get around the chompers.
Yeah, Jinx definitely not the most early game AD carry. She does struggle in lane a lot, and Kai'Sa and Thresh are a kind of lane that can try and abuse it. However, you've got the Morgana's Black Shield as well to try and counter that, so the dynamic will most likely involve the junglers, and we see that Top has already taken this corner of the board, looking to make another ban. Either the jungle or the top lane, it is up to them to decide. It will be the Jace in the end.
And also, Hillerød Esports has banned out the Camille, so Mahov won't be able to be playing that today.
No, he won't be able to. Does not look like he will be able to this whole series. Although, you know, it could go to game 3 and we could see it there. But from what Hillerød are showing us right now, they have no intention of letting it through, Shen being the last ban. That does mean that Lissandra could go into the top lane. I mean, it is a flex pick, but banning out the top laners definitely pinches down the pool in that lane. And now Topaz have to decide, do they pick their jungler, do they pick their top laner right here? It will be
yes, they're going to be looking for a top laner that can... For Topaz, they're going to be looking for someone that can get around the Lissandra, shut her down, because she is such an incredible pick. And for Hillerød, they're going to be looking for someone that can maybe shut down that Kai'Sa, since she's able to do so much damage.
Yeah, now the mid lane hovers coming in from the Hillerød. Ahri is the last hover, might actually get locked in. It will be the Ahri pick into the Zoe, so that is a matchup that at least I'm not seeing too often, and it will be an interesting one to follow.
Right, it is a pretty good match for either one is able to do very well. It's sort of feast or famine for either of them, since whenever Zoe ults, Ahri knows exactly where she's going to be and is oftentimes able to land a charm because of that. But Zoe is incredibly mobile, being able to pick up extra flash, stuff like that, is able to maneuver around the charm if she doesn't use her ultimate carelessly.
Yes, it is the Gragas last pick from the side of Hillerød, most likely going into the jungle, actually, most definitely going into the jungle, can't imagine any other champion doing so. Topaz looking to round off their composition with an Ergot pick, so we are seeing the comps shaping up right now. We've got Ergot, Xin Zhao, Zoe, Kai'Sa and Thresh for Topaz against Lissandra, Gragas, Ahri, Jinx and Morgana. And what are the win objectives for both of these teams?
So right here, Topaz is going to be looking for that little bit of extra team fight that they didn't have before, with the Kai'Sa and the Thresh being able to lock down people really well. The Urgot's big fear, if he can manage to land and execute, will fear all of the enemy champions around him. And because of that, opening him up for attacks from the Xin Zhao and Zoe. So if they can pull that off, they do have a much better chance this time around. But that Lissandra pick is incredibly difficult to deal with, and the Gragas, if played properly, can do quite a bit as well.
Alright, well, I believe that whilst we will be waiting for the spectator delay, we will just throw it off to a short break and we will meet you in game, so do not go anywhere because we will be right back to catch you.
Tonight I'm coming out the shadows. Long time coming, gonna get what's mine. I'm here standing at the doorway, staring down my glory. It's my time. 'Cause I'm a light in the darkness. I'm a bullet in the gun, that's me. My heart, it beats like a bass drum. Come and let me get some. Never gonna back down, never gonna break one bend. Now, tonight there's gonna be a showdown. Tonight there's gonna be war. This is what we came for. The victor, the champion. 'Cause I'm a light in the darkness. I'm a bullet in the gun, that's me. My heart, it beats like a bass drum. Come on, let me get some. Never gonna back down, never gonna break one bend. Now, tonight there's gonna be a showdown. Tonight there's gonna be war. This is what we came for. The victor, the champion. I'll be the last one standing. The raging, the glory. Tonight they'll write my story down. Tonight they'll write my story down. Tonight they'll write my story. Tonight they'll never gonna back down, never gonna break one bend. Now, tonight there's gonna be a showdown. Tonight there's gonna be war. This is what we came for. The victor, the champion. I'll be the last one standing. The glory. Tonight they'll write my story down. Tonight they'll write my story down.
You know who it is. Coming round again. We want a dose of this. Right now it's KDA. I'm a goddess with a blaze. Story time on the ear.
Hello and welcome everyone, we are back after our short break and we're gonna get right into this game. So, hello Litzy, are you here with me?
I am. How you doing?
I'm doing great, but we have a game to cast, so let's not talk about us and let us talk about the teams right now, because you said that Gragas could be something, some sort of point of ignition for Hillerød Esports, and the junglers, as often is the case, will be the people that have the power to get the early game leads. Zhao, a very strong duelist as well as the level 2 gank potential, and Gragas running the Predator can also find the success.
Also, the amount of displacement that Gragas has with his ultimate ability, it can go either way. We've all seen Gragas with an ultimate before, but if he is able to throw it on the other side of a team and knock them into his own, it can do a lot of setup for his team. So if they are able to pull that out of the bag properly, they'll be able to do some really incredible stuff with it.
And we are actually seeing Phaser this time on a different champion than the Syndra. Last time he didn't have too much success. Now he is put on the Zoe, so I am looking if he can have a better performance than last game, since ultimately the fact that he got picked by the Shims Heimerdinger, you could argue that they directly caused the game to end, since the Baron had been picked up, then the Elder Dragon, and then it was very hard. So my eyes are also on the mid laners and seeing if Phaser can play better than he did last game.
That's right. He has a little bit less of a risky pick as he did last time. Syndra, it can really go either way with Syndra. It's oftentimes feast or famine with her, but with the Zoe, you are always helpful to your team, even if you do fall behind, because that sleep can do so much for your team.
It can set up these picks really well, and this is where Tower comes in with his Black Shield. He's going to be a crucial part of the Hillerød composition, denying as much pick potential as he can. The problem is that there are multiple threats on the side of Topaz. You have the bubble and you have the death sentence as well, so it will really come down to these Black Shield mechanics and can he protect the right targets.
That's right, and pair that with a Jinx. The Morgana is incredibly powerful. If Morgana lands just one binding, then the Jinx can put the chompers down and keep the people there for even longer, and is able to put out an incredible amount of damage, especially since the Jinx is running lethal tempo.
Yes, that will definitely consider to have much more damage as the game will go on. The attack speed buff combined with her passive will give her insane amounts of damage, and if she can stay safe, then it could prove to be detrimental. However, right now we are seeing it being fairly even across the lanes. I thought that Cal and Selway on the Kai'Sa and Thresh would be able to get some priority in the bot lane. However, the Morgana pick just making sure that Shimin's in a comfortable spot, just wave clearing, getting the wave shaft under the turret of Topaz's bot lane.
Right, you definitely don't want to get too frisky against a Morgana. You have to stay behind your minions. If you come out from behind the cover, you could end up rooted, which, as we were talking about before, with a Jinx would be a pretty bad combo.
So much damage should come onto either of these members in that little time. Right now I'm just looking at the junglers and where do they decide to make their first gank. So far it looks like they will just clear a majority of their camps. Mini just now going on the ground probably will be looking to pick up the boots on his first recall to get that to get the access to the Predator before he can gank. In the mid lane actually Knudsen does get a very good trade onto Facehurt, who will run out of half of his HP and he has no potions left.
But with the Ahri, every 3 Qs that you do, you get that special one, which does give you more health, which does help with the sustain in lane with her. If you can set it up to hit as many minions as possible, you can get quite a bit of health back.
Yes,
and like that's the case, as Knudsen is now filled back up on health.
He will still use it as an opportunity for a few recall, will shove the lane under Facehurt's turret and will put himself ahead in CS by about 6, which should be caught up by Facehurt by a little bit. So Knudsen on this Ahri, he has the sustain advantage, and if he can find more of these trades, then he can try and translate it into a lane advantage.
And looking up at top lane, Jesu is able to zone out Nonki incredibly well because, you know, he's Urgot, so he now has a 10 CS lead over Nonki, but neither of them have burned, and well, I take it back, Jesu has burned 1 corrupting potion already, but Nonki has not used any of them. Looks like we have a bit of a spicy fight there, but
we might be seeing a gank in the mid lane. However, Mayhoff going in on the Xin Zhao, asleep, landing onto Knudsen, and he gets taken down by Facehurt, but Mini comes in for the return kill.
So right there is the charm. You do not want to get charmed under tower by Ahri, and that is exactly what happened to Mayhoff there, but was still able to get the kill, get the trade, which does bring the kills to 1 and 1, but Topaz does have a little bit of a gold lead.
Yeah, the overall net gain for that play going in Topaz's favor, since they are able to get the first blood with the assist. They will also manage to further their CS lead in the solo lanes. Jisoo finding about 20 CS lead already over Nonki, and Facehurt will be able to equalize and actually get a small CS lead by himself. And the point I just wanted to make before the gank is that we are talking about these small CS leads, but really you need the junglers in order for them to grow, and Facehurt, he wants to grow the lead that his jungler gave him, already taking a nice fight against Knudsen, but will probably just back off to the base.
Yeah, it looks like Mayhoff was thinking about taking Mini's blue buff as well, since that was spawning, but he didn't know exactly where Mini was, so he decided to instead just go for his Raptors and stay safe.
Yeah, definitely no reason to really go for anything risky. Topaz, right now they are fairly even, a small gold lead as we talked about it. But they will have to try and snowball it. And where do you see Topaz snowballing the lead?
Well, right now it looks like Urgot is doing incredibly well in lane, and down in bot lane, they're doing a good job of keeping up with the Kai'Sa, even though Kai'Sa does not have a great early game, neither does the Jinx. So if they can manage to keep that Jinx down and snowball the Kai'Sa up and have the Urgot there for them, they'll be able to do quite
Oh,
a
a
bit of
hook
damage.
landing onto Tower, who flashes away, but Ignite is ticking down, and Selfway picks up the kill. A nice free pick will probably open up the Dragon for Topaz.
Although the kill did go to
Oh,
Selfway.
Facert was so close to getting the kill on the Knudsen, and I will let you continue your talking.
Knudsen did manage to get away with less than 20 HP there. That was very close. But now it looks like the Ocean Drake will be fought over a little bit. Mini, I'm not sure he knows if it's going to happen. Never mind. Red team has gotten it. Topaz now has the Ocean Drake. Once again, I still really prefer to see the Infernal or Mountain Drake early game, but it's still nothing to scoff at.
I am actually a fan of an early game Ocean Drake, mostly because of how much sustain it gives you in lane. However, bot lane, Kyle actually does manage to get out. Coming back to my point, bot lane not necessarily the biggest place it will help, since you are in a 2v2, which means that fighting is much more frequent. But take top lane for example. On Jesus Ergot, if he takes a bad trade against Nonki, it will help him regen back up, and also if he is pushing, which is what he is doing right now with a 25 CS lead in the top lane, that will also allow him to sustain through with the mana and have it to just constantly poke at Nonki and make his life even more difficult.
So with both the Phage and Kindle Gem for Jezu in the top lane, he has some great items for him. The Kindle Gem giving him a little bit of extra sustain. He's able to get some damage onto Nonki there, but Nonki was able to use the Glacial Path to get away. And nothing too much is happening right here because, you know, what we're saying, it's a little bit more of a cautious game. This is the CSD instead of the Wintersplit, so Topaz is not playing their usual early game shenanigans that they do.
Yeah, they are definitely playing much more conscious. Both teams are actually a hook landing already onto Shim. His on the Jinx flashes away. The Black Shield is down, but will it be enough? No, it won't be. Selfie picks up the kill. Meanwhile, Counter Turtle is burning out with Ignite. The Killer Instinct just barely makes him stay alive, but Tower in the end gets the kill. Goes into the stopwatch, landing the binding onto Selfway Thresh, who flashes away from the body slam and gets the kill. But Mini will get it back, actually getting the shot down. It is a 2-for-2. Meanwhile, top lane, Nonki will actually just take the Glacial Path to the safety.
Alright, that was quite a fight down bot. Selfway knew that he had to get the kill there.
Top lane, Nonki, he goes into the Frozen Tomb, and he does flash away, but he will just get dove. Mayho flashes away, and Jizu picks up another kill. Both of these teams now trading across the map.
That's right, Topaz right now is ahead as far as kills go, thanks to those trades up in the top lane. But it looks like Knudsen is looking around there.
Oh, lands the charm onto Faisal, who just gets binded up and taken down, picking up a kill onto the Ahri.
And it looks like Mahov is simply going to back there. He does not want to do the 1v2 fight. I don't blame him there. It's a little bit risky flying around there, but that control ward on the side of Hillerød inside of the jungle bush made sure that Topaz did not know that there are people in that bush waiting for them, and so he got charmed, bound, and killed.
And we are seeing that kill-wise, the game is fairly even, but Topaz are still able to break a 1000 gold lead for themselves. One tiny problem is that Selfway is sitting on 3 kills on the Thresh. Maybe not the best source to put your kills in, but he is still managing to get that gold in for his team. And we'll have to see if Topaz can get themselves ahead. Last game, they got Cow ahead, and they didn't manage to carry it home. However, right now she might get caught away. Great Black Shield denies the death sentence. Mini comes in, binding onto Selfway, who gets cast back into the entire team. Teleport as well from Nonki, just for good measure, as Cal will flash away. This is the double kill for Shim.
So what we're seeing there is, sadly, the Selfway has been picking up the kills, and because of that, maybe Cal wasn't able to do quite as much damage as he would if it was instead him with the 3 kills. So Because of that, he did ended up dying under tower, but there is a little bit of fight here. There's the Drowsy down, and it looks like they will be able to defend this tower.
Yeah, Topaz, they are trying to aggressively defend this turret. Flash actually from teleported from Jizu and onto the Shim, who gets shot down, and the kill going on to Fetzer. Jizu flashing forward, trying to get more, and he does get the Fear Beyond Death onto tower. A great teleport play from Jizu gets him 2 kills.
So that CS lead is paying off for him, because now he has picked up 2 kills, which puts him well ahead of Nonki, and they will be able to take down this tower.
A great teleport play from Topaz gets them the first turret, gets them the 2 kills, and top lane turret might actually not be taken. Nonki is too far from getting it, and Cal is already defending. Killer Instinct onto the Lissandra and Frozen 2 to stand down Cal for a while. Nonki trying to get away, no Glacial Path available for another 10 seconds, and Cal will be able to run him down.
That is a little bit rough for Nonki there. Cal is able to stay out of range of the root, and with the speed boost is able to keep that distance away from the Glacial Path. In the end, simply dealing too much damage, especially thanks to that passive ability, and taking down Nonki.
Yeah, Nonki will drop down as well. Doesn't really have the best game on the Lissandra. Jizu did manage to bully him out in the lane, and now even Cal adding insult to the injury. However, taking a quick look at the items, we are 15 minutes in, and actually Hillerød aren't too far back. However, right now, we are seeing that Facer is sitting on 1500 gold. Without him spending that gold though, the items are pretty even. Top lane 1-1. Jungle, the jungle items have been completed, and Min is actually slightly more ahead. Mid lane, still the components to do this echo, and right now we might be actually seeing a fight over this Herald. Jizu gets charmed up and is rooted by the Flame Chopper standing in the middle. Everyone has to commit the stopwatch, but Mini will get pulled back into the shutdown. Death sentence spells at the end for tower, and Topaz picks up 2 easy kills.
That was pretty rough there. That is an interesting interaction with Urgot's ult and his stopwatch there. He ended up being able to do both at the same time, and there was nothing that could be done to stop the execute.
We saw Facer in the mid lane trying to trade, but a really nice fight from Topaz, and Jizu on this Urgot. He's going to be huge right now. We just saw what he can do in this fight, how he just doesn't really die, and the rest of this team can also support him with the damage. So he's definitely the person that we need to look out for in the next fight. But who is it for Hillerød that will try and get them back in this game?
So for Hillerød, they're going to be looking at Mini and Knudsen. Both of them have been doing fairly well so far. And then really late game, we're going to be looking at Shim. So far, Shim has gone 2-2, so does have the KDA there for him, as opposed to some of the other players on his team. And if he can manage to get the late game, he can deal just so much damage to different towers, and is the penta machine that the rush that Jinx gets after getting a kill, getting the extra attack speed and movement speed, is able to really lock down some team fights after the first kill.
And this is what Topaz needs to focus on in the team fights. They cannot let the first kill drop, because after you do that, when Shim will get more items than his Storm Razor, as he said, he will just pop off through the entire fight. And once the Jinx gets her attack speed with her passive and with the lethal tempo, I don't think any tankiness will really help you for a long time. So Topaz, they need to lock down Shim, or get his entire team and make sure that none of them dies in the fight. However, right now they have been doing a fairly good job in this. They managed to secure themselves a 5,000 gold lead, which is actually fairly impressive considering that that is what Hillerød had for the vast majority of a 40-minute game last time. Right now mid lane, we could be seeing something, but a Black Shield will deny any further attempt.
Right, and it looks like Nonki is coming down, so we may be seeing a little bit there, the roots that he can land, and there is the Rift Herald being dropped mid, so that just one charge will take this tower down.
Yeah, and the charge will come through. Topaz getting the mid lane turret right now. This game, honestly, looks like the teams have swapped sides and they have swapped the way they play, because Topaz are looking to try and maybe siege the second turret, but the Herald Death will deter them from doing so for now. And Topaz are honestly just as dominant as Hillerød were last game.
Right, so far this does look like just the opposite of what we were seeing just a little while ago. So the question is, will Topaz be able to turn this
well,
around?
a hook landing onto Mini, he gets bursted out immediately. Carl is on a killing speed. That was a great pick coming in from the entire team. Selfway nailing the hook. We might be seeing something happening onto Nonki. The rest of Topaz will try and get that bot lane turret, and they are unrelenting in their pressure. We saw that in the Wintersplit. Once they get ahead, they don't leave it at all. And this game is exactly the Topaz that we know and have seen already.
That's right, that pure aggressiveness that we see, the great Thresh lanterns that we see, and the tower pressure. Only 18 minutes in, and we already are looking at inhibitor turrets.
5 turrets have been taken for Topaz. On the other side, Hillerød hasn't taken a single turret. The closest one is the bot lane turret, which sits just below 1000 HP. And yeah, very well played from Topaz, just turning this game around from what has been last game. Not the best performance, and Jisoo has been putting down so much pressure on this air build pick.
Right, his ability there of locking down someone, pulling them into his team, spinning around them and dealing damage with his shotguns, and then finally the execute. If he lands that, there is nothing that you can do to escape it. It is simply your turn to die.
And the Baron is spawning in 10 seconds. We already see Topaz trying to secure some control over there. They will send Jisoo into the bot lane to put down the pressure. And Hillerød will have to send someone. They only have Nonki, and I don't think he is really in a spot to contest this Ergot's push.
That's right, he has been slowly falling behind the Urgot. The Urgot now has 3 kills and 0 deaths with 179 farm, whereas Nonki
Carl in the
has...
jungle, he does get charmed. That's a great predict on the killer instinct. He will flash away though. Ignite is still ticking down. Will he get taken down? Yes, he will with this smite. Shut down, landing in for Mini. Without the hook landing onto Facer, picking out the return kill onto Talbot. No cap onto the jungle of the Hillerød Esport, and he will get taken down. Or Wilkin just on the for picking up that one up with the heroic charge. Shim has nowhere to go, and Facer is on a killing spree. And Hillerød might have found the pick onto the AD carry, but the rest of Topaz is more than capable of dealing with that.
That's right, and with Jesu pushing in this tower now, they are going to have to try to focus down at least one of them, and it looks like he is in a bit of a pickle there.
Yeah, the Frozen Tomb did land on him under the turret, but he makes it out alive in the end. He had to burn his flash though, which is not really great, but rest of his team will be able to secure the top lane turret, so Topaz still very much pushing the lead forward, extending it to nearly 9,000 gold lead, and the Baron is now their next objective.
That's right, they may be looking to take that pretty soon, or at least after the next team fight, if they can get Mini out of the picture.
Oh,
the
Jisoo in the bot lane. Okay, Jisoo in the bot lane does miss the fear beyond that. That means that Donkey can get out alive with just burning the flash. It was a nice interrupt on the glacial path, but unfortunately, this kill shot missing does mean that he cannot get the solo kill.
And because of that, he is going to finally go back into lane. He does have teleport available to him, so he may decide to go for a split push and just watch his team. If they decide to take an objective, then he can teleport to it and help them out. And it looks like they may be grouping up here for the Mountain Drake.
Mountain Drake will help Topaz secure the Baron. It will add more Baron damage, and with Kai'Sa having 2 items with that Ginsu's Rage Blade, it will mean that they can shred this Baron relatively fast. Oh,
that's right, that little bit of extra damage will help them there. So if they can take out Mini.
Yeah, Tauber is running very, very low. It will actually still run away. Nice cast, will deny any Mayholes engage, but looks like looks like Topaz will just disengage towards the Baron.
That's right, they are forcing the fight here. It knows that they are there. So the question is, will they try to contest it? The Baron is going down very fast, but they are here now.
Yeah, they cannot even contest the hook. Landing onto the jungle mini will get taken down very soon. Killer Instinct from the cow to try and get even more kills. Selfie going in, does manage to get a 2-man play. Tauber is running very low, but a great frozen 2-1 to Mayhope will nearly take him down, but the Crescent Guard damage denial will make sure he stays alive. It is a 1-for-1, however, Topaz, they get themselves the Nasher.
That's right, they managed to only lose Selfway there, and honestly, you can deal with your support not having Baron buff, as chances are he will be sticking next to the ADC anyway. So because of that, they're going to go ahead and back, pick up any items that they're missing, and then look to push in some towers.
And Topaz right now, they are just so dominant. This is a polar opposite of the last game from them. Last game we saw them fall behind, try to find something, but not really being able to. A lot of it due to Facehurt falling behind on the Syndra. This game, Topaz are ahead by an insane goal, 10,000 gold. Facehurt is among one of the reasons why they are doing so. He's 4-1 and 5 on the Zoe and has been dishing out the damage, finding the picks together with the Selfway to end up in this game state.
Right, so far Topaz has been redeeming themselves from last game. The question is, will Hillerød be able to come out on top here and close it out? They only have to win one game, but right now they have to focus on shutting down these Baron buffed players, and if they can manage to get rid of that Baron buff, maybe win the next fight, maybe get some objectives, get some kills, they may be able to pull ahead. But right now they are 10k gold behind, so it's going to be an uphill battle for them.
And they technically do have some sort of the edge in the late game, because don't forget that Kai'Sa and Zoe are still going to hurt a lot. So there is some hope for Hillerød, but as you said, it is a 10,000 gold. It is so big that Hillerød will need at the very least 15 minutes, and even then they are not the most clear favorites to win the fights.
That's right, even though Jinx is incredible late game, so is Kai'Sa.
Oh, we might be seeing a fight. A charm landing onto Facer. He will get picked up and shut down. This is the picks that Hillerød want to get. Shim now dishing the damage in the front line. Hook landing onto Mini. He will get traded back though. The rest of Hillerød want to go for it. Cal is gonna get stand up. Roll back into his entire team. It is yet another pick. Shut down the Sam Nonki picking up the kill. Seven will fall to Shim. And this is the fight that Hillerød want to get. 3 kills already, looking to make it 4. Just well fall down as a shutdown to Knuse. It is a 4-4-2, and Hillerød, they managed to stall it out for a while.
That is just what we are talking about with Shim. As soon as the first kill happens, then you just start running. And when you start running over the enemy team, able to kill so many people so quickly, burst down the amount of health that Urgot has, his incredible tankiness, and now they'll be able to take this tower, and they're going to be looking for the second tower.
They can definitely get that one, and with it they will be picking up quite a lot of standing gold. The gold it has already shrunk to 8,000, looking to make it go down to 7. And with that they will be able to pick up some items, and the tempo for Topaz has been slowed down significantly with that fight.
There still is some action. I take it back, the Baron buff has now worn off for Xin Zhao. So, although they were able to push up to that inhibitor turret and deal a little bit of damage, eventually they did lose out there, as just one good charm from Inari absolutely opened up the team and got the Jinx running.
Yes, and it was due to just the skill shot, like the binding, like the charm, being so good against the portal jump of Facer, because he needs to use that skill shot if he wants to find the picks. But each time he does so, he is putting himself at a risk of getting killed out.
And so Topaz is looking to, when they are still ahead, they do still have the gold lead, and they do still have the kill lead, and they do still have the objective lead. But that team fight there shows that Hillerød still has some fight in them, and they may be looking to even this up pretty soon. Urgot on the bot lane, simply pushing it in, and then Mehov on the top doing some split pushing as well. Hillerød is going to have to decide where they want to go.
And it definitely is not an easy choice, because the next objective will be the dragon, which will be the cloud drake, so not the most desired objective at 28 minutes. And even though Topaz are still ahead, the AD carry items have now been equalized. Yes, they still have the pressure in the side lane, and this is what Topaz needs to do. They need to recalibrate and said, okay, this is our win condition. We do not need to go for these fights because we just lost one. If we lose another one, we will be in a very, very dangerous position.
That's right. Right now they are ahead, but one bad team fight will definitely close that gap quite a bit. So right now they're going to be looking to catch someone out and make sure to turn the game into a 4v5 instead of a 5v5. So then they have a better chance with the team fights. And then just that solid split push from Jezu, making sure that at least one person has to stay bot lane to make sure that that tower doesn't go down.
The good thing for Hillerød though is that Nonki has picked up enough items that he can wave clear the wave very efficiently. Yes, Jezu will still have the pressure in the bot lane, but Nonki can just throw out his ice shards and some additional skill shots if needed to get that out. Shim nearly getting killed out by the who could be very dangerous. Mayhop actually going in with the Crescent Guard, decides not to pull the trigger. Tabard will fall dangerously low, and Topaz, they are looking for that fight. Jezu is on the bot lane turret already. So Topaz, they are trying to just close their grasp on this game. That's a nice rocket onto Cal. We'll just chunk him down a little bit.
And then the sleep for a little bit of zone there. It looks like we're just sort of staying here trying to get one kill somewhere. Baron is still on the timer. It will be coming up in 20 seconds. So if Topaz can win a team fight, they'll be able to take Baron again and maybe try to do a little bit more with it this time around. But if Hillerød manages to win this next fight, then
oh, that's a hook landing onto counter territory. He gets immediately bursted down. Knusen is on the rampage. That is a very good pick for Hillerød. Nice dodge away from Facer, but the cast will knock him back into the wall. Can they get the other carry? Min is dropping down. He will get taken out as a return kill. But Cal the turtle has fallen, and the Baron is alive. Can Hillerød punish this mistake?
It is a 4v4
oh, we see yet
right
another
now.
fight going on in the middle lane. I hope it will drop down to Shim, who is just dealing so much damage on the Zinc. Jisoo in the front line, though, will get a return kill onto Taber. Nonki will get put to sleep, but Selfway will fall down. Knusen is unstoppable. The two carries of Hillerød, can they find the fight? Can they find the damage? They will find it onto Jisoo as Knusen secures the double kill. Facer trying to run away, but she will get the ace, and Hillerød get the comeback win. And if they get the Baron, they might be looking to put themselves in a spot. However, 2 low health bars, and Topaz will get another chance whilst being in the lead.
So it looks like they won't be able to get Baron quite yet. They came out of that fight with not quite enough health, but man, did they come out of that fight swinging. Shim absolutely popping off on the Jinx. They're doing so much damage to the tanks. They simply weren't able to breach the line, get past Knudsen, get past Tauber, and get to the Jinx, while the Jinx just started shredding them down.
In the mid lane, we just saw a few seconds ago Cal burning the flash of Shim with the killer instinct. This could be big because one pick on either of the carries, to be honest anyone, but the carries in general, Facehurt, Cal, Knusen and Shim, if any of them fall down for nothing, it could spell disaster for their team, since the Baron is up right now. Not a single inhibitor turret has been broken on the side of Hillerød. Topaz have been in the lead for so long, yet they have been unable to break into the base of the enemy team. And right now it really becomes the game of pressure. Can you burn that summoner to set yourself up for the pick, and then can you execute on this pick and get it free, and then get the Baron and probably get yourself looking to close the game out on your opponent.
Lots of wards there. Both teams have vision, but it looks like we may be seeing a little bit of a fight there. The sleep ended up being blocked by the black shield, And while both teams just kind of are looking at each other, playing around here.
Oh, Shim gets tagged by this great Black Shield and the QSS, and it is already a kill on to make Shim is unstoppable. Selfway will look to get popped out as well, but Tauber is trying to disengage from Cal. Cal already has to flash away. A great charm landing onto face it. Will he drop down? Tauber is out of the fight. Shim is in the middle of the fray, dishing out the damage with that Jing. Jizu will fall down. Nonki has slain his lane opponent. Great hook landing onto Shim. Cal going in with the killer spin. That's pick up the kill onto Tower, but we get dropped down in the end, and Hillerød will get the team fight win. It is a 4-for-1, only Facert alive, and can he really find anything on the Zoe? No, he cannot, but Hillerød cannot find the Baron once again.
We saw there's something hilarious going on. I don't know if we can manage to get a replay of that, but down in that bush near mid lane, the team was just edging around. Hillerød just edging around that sleep there. If any of them managed to walk into that, then it would have spelled death for them, but they managed to just barely stay away from it and ended up getting the kills. It was absolutely hilarious to watch.
Right now, actually, Hillerød are trying to commit to the Baron. Both Facert and Mayhope are in a position to respond. The support Tauber is coming up as well. Teleport from Jizu into the middle of the Baron pit. That's a huge chunk of damage onto Nonki. He will be able to make it out, but the Zonias will probably spell death for him. Oh, he does use this Tomb line, and the Baron is running very low. Who will get it? It is stolen as Topaz pick it up. And can they find the find? Shim already found the kill onto Facert. Nonki's running very low. Cal is nowhere to be seen. And Hillerød might have lost the Baron, but they are looking to pick up yet another team fight. It will be the third one in a row as Shim is godlike. 9-3 and 10 on the Jinx, dishing out incredible amounts of damage. And Hillerød might not have the Baron, but they have the pressure right now.
And right now they have to respond with what is happening. Hillerød has decided, you know what, that's fine, we can deal with not having the Baron. We took it away from the jungler, and we are going to trade at least one tower for it, and with the minion wave bot that forced Cal to go there. Now there has to be a response to the top lane.
Yeah, top lane actually, Inhibitor turret is under the siege right now, and to be Hillerød who break the base of their opponent first. Close that out with an Inhibitor as well. Now they are on the disengage, since Facert is just 2 seconds away from respawning. But with these fights, with this Baron, with this Inhibitor break, Hillerød, they are looking strong. Very strong.
In fact, they have now caught up and surpassed Hillerød in the kill lead, 23-20 in just a 35-minute game. That means we've had more than 1 kill per minute. This has been an incredibly intense game, start to finish. But right now, Topaz does still have a little bit of a gold lead, and towers are now even. They do have the Baron buff here, but not for too much longer.
However, we see some items now being completed onto Facert and Cal. Cal has his Infinity Edge, and Facert completed his Death Cap. And even though, if you look at the other side, you have 5 items on Shim, and Knudsen working towards his 3rd item as well, Topaz, they definitely can still find the pace. It's just that right now, they are in a much tougher spot than they were just 5 minutes ago. And Hillerød, they need to be careful how they want to complete their comeback. It is a similar story to Topaz last game. They do have the late game, but they need to be careful, and we might be seeing a fight break out. That's a flash Frozen 2 landing onto Cal the Turtle, who gets immediately bursted down with Mini getting the kill. Shim cannot be touched as Mayhope is trying, but he will fall in his face, and Shim is legendary on the Jinx. Hillerød getting themselves another 2 kills, and Topaz, they are looking clueless about this game.
That engage from Nonki was great, even though he was falling behind in farm, and he still hasn't caught up. 280 to 323, and he doesn't have the same amount of kills, 3 kills to 5. The amount of value that he has to his team and his utility has been great. Being able to open up fights for his team has been great.
And Hillerød want to break open yet another Inhibitor turret, make that a mid lane Inhibitor as well. They get another fight, and they are close to bringing this gold lead to an even state. But even though they are behind in gold, they definitely are ahead in the momentum right now, with that Jinx, with Nonki, with the picks all over the place, and the consistent damage coming in from their marksmen. They are actually in the position to try and close out this game, despite being behind 10,000 gold.
That's right, the comeback here has been great, thanks to their late game champions in Jinx, in Lissandra, and in Gragas. The amount of teamfight potential they have there. Mehop does seem to be looking for a little bit of a flank, but the question is, does Tauber see it coming?
Yes, actually, Mehop is going in. That's a great knockup onto all the members. However, Shim is still untouched in the back line. Jesus going into the middle of everyone and counter following with the killer instinct, but he loses the 1v1 in the AD carry. Shim is still dashing out the damage. Jizu cannot find the kill. It is a 2-for-1 already, or 2-for-2 I should say. And Topaz, they lost their AD carry. Shim is still alive, but Hillerød will not continue with the fight.
Topaz is trying so hard to knock Shim out of the game, at least for a little while, to get that delicious bounty that is on his head, but they are not able to do it. He is staying alive and pushing the tower in.
And right now with these peaks, Hillerød will be looking to complete their comeback with getting the third inhibitor. Topaz, now they are the ones against the wall. They have to find a miracle of a fight. We saw a great flank failing. It is the 3 inhibitors down, and Hillerød will take the first Nexus star. They will make it the second one. The Nexus is now under focus, and Topaz, they cannot find the win, and Hillerød will take the 2-0 with a comeback win to cap it off.
That was great, that comeback there. We thought that Topaz was going to be able to pull out the second game there, but in the end, it was Hillerød with an amazing game from Shim. Shim absolutely did so well that game. As soon as he got 1 kill, he just kept on pushing further and further and further, and eventually just killing entire teams in his wake. The passive on Jinx was simply so powerful, and they were patient. They simply waited and waited until they could get 1 kill, and then they came in like a storm, and they stayed in front of Shim, protected him so well. The Morgana, the Lissandra, rooting anyone who wanted to try to get anywhere close to Shim, and eventually it paid off. Shim was able to do so much there.
And with such a, I wouldn't say very convincing 2-0, but getting the 2-0 over Topaz does show that Hillerød, they are a very strong team, despite falling in week 1 of the Wintersplit, and yeah, their match against Topaz being delayed, and you know, people not really knowing whether Topaz or the Hillerød will come out on top. Hillerød just take the 2-0 in such a great fashion. Game 1, it took them a while to close out. Game 2, they got the comeback. And yeah, really well played.
Absolutely, they stayed calm, they didn't tilt, and they figured out what they needed to do. Simply stay back and wait for the opportunity. And then eventually they turned around and they went on the offensive. We saw the glacial path to a flash to a icy tomb with the Lissandra, just so much distance covered, and then the perfect engage for the team.
Yeah, and Hillerød getting the 2-0 win in the CSD over Topaz. So, you know, we're not really the CSD casters. I will...
We don't really know what's going on.
We don't really know. Both of these teams, though, are in the Wintersplit, and that is something that we can relate to it, because this match will be happening in just 3 weeks' time, as I said, on a Sunday the 9th, I believe. And right now, actually, Hillerød, they look like they might be the favorites, especially if they continue doing this.
That's right. Even though Hillerød was 2-0'd by Hydra earlier in the split, they have now beaten Topaz, which beat Hydra just yesterday. So now it could be, you could say that they are looking to be the top team. So the question is, will they be able to keep up this momentum until the end of the season?
Well, I don't know if they will. However, we do know that Hillerød will actually be playing in the Wintersplit tomorrow, as far as I know. Yes, there will be. So, you know, we will just finish this stream with a standard sellout. So if you are joining us from CSD and you're somewhat interested in the Wintersplit, then, you know, join our Discord. Feel free to do so. Follow us as well on Twitter and YouTube. You can also follow us on Facebook if you're still using that. And yeah, you know, we will be streaming our games mostly most of the days of the week, with the exception of Friday and Saturday most of the time, but that will also change. So yeah, guys, don't forget to follow us here, and as well, if you like these two teams in particular, we will be streaming their match on the 9th of December. So if that's the only match you are willing to watch, then tune in for that as well. And I believe that this will be it from us tonight. So I am Kachka, and I brought the game today to you with the Litzy, and we'll see you tomorrow.